Did you notice something? These fascist Christians who won in their primaries, there was no whining and pissing their pants about election fraud. In the very states where they claimed there was election fraud, where it concerns a Democrat winning or Joe Biden winning, right? For example, this Republican pissant, well, he's not a Republican, this fascist Christian in Nevada, Jim Marchant, had pissed all over himself, claiming there hadn't been a legitimate election here in Nevada in more than a decade. And he went on to say that all of Nevada's election winners since 2006 were installed by the deep state cabal. End quote. The deep state cabal. You miserable bastards, I swear to God. But when this asshole won the Republican nomination for Nevada's Secretary of State, God, I hope he doesn't get it, last week, he immediately celebrated his victory as legitimate. On social media, this fascist nutfuck said, quote, "I am beyond humbled by the overwhelming support of our campaign. Nevadans make their voices heard." End quote. I know. It's a total waste of my time and yours for me to point out the hypocrisy of these pissants. But these are fascist Christians. They are taught from day one to believe bullshit, to believe things that aren't true, to twist whatever truth they might be exposed to in their useless lives into something ugly and hateful because it is the truth. And this kind of inconsistency about the electoral process, well, hell, that's become a hallmark of these deniers, these election deniers in the primary contests across the United States in this year's midterms, where these scummy bastards, these fascist Christians, have won. Oh, well, everything's fine now. Well, what changed? Well, I was running, and I'm a Christian. Jesus God. So if you look back, and I know you don't want to, and neither do I, it's too upsetting, but dozens of these fascist Christian candidates who sucked up to the orange vomit and begged for his backing in Nevada and Ohio and Pennsylvania and Texas, they spent months spreading his lies and his bullshit about how he was cheated out of the 2020 presidency. But then they declared victory without raising those kinds of concerns in their own elections. I'm sure you've noticed. I hate these fuckers so much. I really do. I can't believe the contempt with which I hold these scum. I mean, you know, it's not really hate. It's more like, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess contempt is a good one. Disrespect. How can these people, these fascist Christians who are seeking fascist Christian positions in government, to fuck up government once they get there? They're not going because they feel dedicated to forwarding the promise that the founders made in our documents, in the original documents. That's not why they're going. They want to be elected so they can literally just rip to pieces everything this country has tried to do in the past 230 years, because they are fascist fucking Christians. They have no respect for law, for the rule of law. They have no decency, nothing. And when they win these primaries, oh, well, I won because God. wanted me to. Oh, my God. Now, even though these slimy bastards have been winning their fascist Christian, a.k.a. Republican, primaries, they're still insisting that once they are in office, like this prick Marchant, who thinks he will be Secretary of State of Nevada, once they're in office, they're going to go after a series of election reforms that will make it difficult for people to vote, particularly difficult for those people who traditionally support Democrats. And they're going to do this in the name of their fucking religion and election integrity. They can use that word integrity without having their skulls collapse from the rot inside. I mean, a fascist Christian who tries to say that anything he or she does is about integrity on any level, but especially election integrity, is tempting the evil spirits to come and fill up with little spaces they might still have left inside their punkin heads. You know what I'm saying? Jamie Harrison, who is the Democratic National Committee chairperson, warned, quote, MAGA Republicans will do anything in their desperate chase for power, from undermining our democracy by spreading Trump's big lie, to laying the groundwork to try to cancel votes when they don't agree with the outcome. But they fall silent when they win. This, Jamie Harrison told the Associated Press, is today's Republican Party. Jamie, it's not a Republican Party. I apologize for correcting you. This is a fascist Christian party now that has arisen from the slime and the maggoty rot of the Republican Party. So last Tuesday in Nevada, this prick Marchant was part of a group of election deniers, Trump fellators, who got their places on the November ballot coming up without question. They didn't bring up a single word about the legitimacy of the results. Well, you know what my question is, why haven't the Democrats, of course it's a Republican primary, but why haven't the Democrats started screaming, fraud, fraud, election fraud, fraud? I guess the quick answer is that for the most part, Democrats don't play that filthy fucking Christian fascist game. Maybe they should. But these Trump fellators who won in Nevada in the Republican primary included candidates for Senate, state treasurer, a congressional seat. And that's even as the majority of the counties were using Dominion voting machines. And it's the Dominion voting machines that the orange vomit and the filth around him continue to make the target of their conspiracy bullshit. So Mr. Marchant, this little prick in Nevada, wins the Republican primary, and the votes are cast in Dominion voting machines, which I'm sure the asshole Marchant screamed about, along with the Trump suckers. But he gets his win from Dominion voting machines. Is he screaming and squeaking and pissing himself now? Oh, God. Now, this crapola extends beyond Nevada, of course. The only reason I picked on Marchant here is because I think he's a dumb bastard who wants to be Secretary of State in Nevada so he can fuck over the entire electoral system in that country. And if he's elected, that's exactly what he will do. But in Pennsylvania, The new Republican nominee for governor, this mafioso fucker named Doug Mastriano, this Christian nutfuck, he spearheaded a state Senate hearing when he was in the Senate in which witnesses, including bat pig Rudy Giuliani, put out all these false claims about mass voter fraud. Also in that was Jenna Ellis, Trump campaign attorneys Jenna Ellis and Rudy the Bat Giuliani. Mastriano, the fascist Christian, also was outside the U.S. Capitol when the mob of scum tried to overthrow the government of the United States. And he tried to bring a fascist Christian audit to Pennsylvania before he was stripped of his committee chairmanship by his own party. And now this filthy fucking pig is the nominee of the Republican Party for governor. And he made absolutely no mention, this bastard didn't, when he declared victory in that state's Republican primary for governor last month. Not a peep. But you know what he said, smiling and grinning at his shucking and jiving supporters who were standing in front of him, acting like a bunch of goddamn clowns? You know what he said? Quote, "God is good." End quote. You fucking asshole, Mastriano. If your pretend God ever showed up, not only would you piss your pants in fear, but he would rip your head off, throw it into hell, where the condemned souls, like you're going to be there someday, would use it as a soccer ball. Am I being explicit enough? Oh, God. All these people put me in just a furious mood. You know what I'm saying? God is good. And when asked by a reporter about the obvious double standard, when these Christian fascist devils right out of hell, when they win elections, it's, oh, hey, God is good. Our demonic God, our satanic God, our horned God is good. But if a Democrat wins, obviously it's the deep state plot to destroy good Christians, right? So the Mastriano campaign declined to respond to questions about the double standard. So did the long indicted Attorney General Ken Paxton of Texas, who should be in a fucking jail, should have been years ago, but there he is. And Paxton won his primary last month after he spent much of last year being a champion for the filthy pig Donald Trump's bogus claims of election fraud. In fact, after Joe Biden won the presidency, this felony indicted Attorney General of Texas, he filed a legal challenge to the election results in 4 battleground states. Remember that? He wanted the Supreme Court to nullify the election results in 4 other states and allow the Republican-controlled state legislatures to determine the winner. And 17 other fascist Christian state attorneys general supported that. Can you fucking believe this? I realize this was a year ago. I get it. But can you believe this? And now these people are poised, after the November elections this year, to totally and completely control who gets to vote, who gets to win, who's going to be in control of the legislative branch of the U.S. government, and probably 40 of the 50 state governments. These fraudulent, nasty, fascist Christians are about ready to ring the closing bell, I guess. So what are we going to do about it? Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.